Who is running for president in 2024?
You are watching YouTube channel. Want you know?
For years after a historically large number of candidates ran for president, the field for the 2024 campaign is getting crowded once more, even as it is headlined by the same two aging men who faced off in 2020, President Biden and former President Donald J. Trump. More than half a dozen Republicans have already entered the race, and additional candidates may still join them, creating a fractured field that could prevent voters who oppose Mr. Trump from coalescing around a single alternative, just as it did in 2016. On the Democratic side, Mr. Biden has drawn only a couple of long-shot challenges. Here is more about the candidates.
Joseph R. Biden Jr., current president, 82 years old on Inauguration Day.
President Biden has cast himself as a protector of democracy and a stabilizing force after the upheaval of the Trump administration. He is expected to campaign on his bipartisan accomplishments, like a major infrastructure bill, and his support for Democratic priorities, like abortion rights, that Republicans staunchly oppose. He is running for re-election as the oldest person ever to hold the presidency, a subject of concern among many Democrats, though the party has publicly set aside those worries and rallied around him.
Marianne Williamson, self-help author, 72 years old on Inauguration Day.
Marianne Williamson, a self-help author and former spiritual advisor to Oprah Winfrey, is running for a second time. In her unsuccessful 2020 campaign, she called for a federal Department of Peace, supported reparations for slavery, and called Trumpism a symptom of an illness in the American psyche that could not be cured with political policies. She has also promoted dubious or debunked medical theories, particularly on mental illness.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., anti-vaccine activist, 71 years old on Inauguration Day.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a nephew of former President John F. Kennedy, is a prominent anti-vaccine activist. He has promoted debunked claims that childhood vaccines are linked to autism and railed against coronavirus vaccine mandates and other pandemic mitigation measures, at one point drawing an analogy to Nazi Germany, for which he later apologized. Once an environmental lawyer who helped clean up the Hudson River, his crusade against vaccines has anguished his tight-knit political family.
Donald J. Trump, former president and businessman, 78 years old on Inauguration Day.
Former President Donald J. Trump is running to retake the office he lost in 2020, then denied losing to the point of inciting a mob of his supporters to attack the United States Capitol. Though somewhat diminished in influence within the Republican Party and facing legal investigations from state authorities and the Justice Department alike, he retains a large and extremely committed base of supporters, and he could be aided in the 2024 primary by multiple challengers splitting a limited anti-Trump vote.
Nikki Haley, former governor and uni ambassador, 53 years old on Inauguration Day.
Nikki Haley, a former governor of South Carolina and United Nations ambassador under Mr. Trump, has presented herself as a member of a new generation of leadership and emphasized her life experience as a daughter of Indian immigrants. She was long seen as a rising Republican star, able to eschew some extremes while maintaining base support, including after calling in 2015 for the removal of the Confederate battle flag from the grounds of the South Carolina Capitol. But her allure in the party has declined amid her on-again, off-again embrace of Mr. Trump.
Vivek Ramaswamy, entrepreneur and author, 39 years old on Inauguration Day.
Vivek Ramaswamy, a multimillionaire entrepreneur and author, describes himself as anti-woke, and has made a name for himself in right-wing circles by opposing corporate efforts to advance political, social and environmental causes. He has not held elected office before and, while known to a segment of conservatives, does not have the name recognition of most other candidates who have entered or are likely to enter the race.
Asa Hutchinson, former governor of Arkansas, 74 years old on Inauguration Day.
Asa Hutchinson, a two-term governor of Arkansas, who left that job in January, is one of a relatively small number of Republicans who have been openly critical of former President Donald J. Trump. He has denounced Mr. Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election and said he should drop out of the presidential race. Mr. Hutchinson has broad experience in the federal government, having served in the House and led the Drug Enforcement Administration and the Department of Homeland Security's Border and Transportation Security Directorate.
Larry Elder, conservative talk radio host, 72 years old on Inauguration Day.
Larry Elder, who ran unsuccessfully against Gavin Newsom of California in a recall election in 2021, has been a prominent conservative talk radio host in the state for many years. In that role, he has advocated some far-right positions, including eliminating the minimum wage. During his recall campaign, he focused heavily on crime, school choice and opposition to pandemic mitigation measures.
Tim Scott, senator from South Carolina, 59 years old on Inauguration Day.
Tim Scott is the first Black Republican senator from the South in more than a century and has been one of his party's most prominent voices on matters of race. Often navigating a political tightrope supporting some police reforms, for example, while arguing that Democrats are wrong about the persistence of structural racism in the United States. He was raised by a single mother and was a failing student before meeting a Chick-fil owner who mentored him and, he says, taught him conservative values.
Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, 46 years old on Inauguration Day.
Ron DeSantis has built a national reputation as a combative conservative eager to do battle with liberals. As governor of Florida, he has led a laissez-faire response to the coronavirus pandemic, and with the help of an allied state legislature, limited the teaching of racial history in schools and enacted substantial restrictions affecting Floridians. He has also made extensive use of executive power against political opponents, from a local Democratic prosecutor to Disney. Thanks for watching.